It's the fastest, most unpredictable speedway on Earth.
Iron made this place. Mined, smelted, forged. And every spring, we gather round and celebrate. Iron sharpening iron.
Oh, he gets tattooed!
But in order to take it all home, you need nerves of steel. The big one is back. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Roll Tide and welcome to this Thursday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. This is Roger Hoover. Great to be with you from our Tuscaloosa studios as we're gearing up for not only a busy show, but a busy weekend of Alabama athletics. We'll start our show by taking a look at what's coming up thanks to our friends at RJ Young. RJ Young is the official technology solutions provider of Crimson Drive. They've given us a smart board to go through everything coming up on the show, plus they sponsor our headlines each and every week. We will start by talking with an Alabama alum and the host of ESPN's College Game Day, Rece Davis, as we're excited for College Game Day coming to Tuscaloosa for the first time for the basketball edition of the show. We can't wait to preview that with Rece Davis coming up first. And then we'll talk to Rylan Griffen, who had a great performance last night for the Crimson Tide against Ole Miss. He joins us to talk about everything with his men's basketball team this season. Then Gabby Gladiuex will join us as well as she continues to perform at a high level in her sophomore year for the Alabama Gymnastics team, coming off a great performance last week against Georgia. Then we'll close things out by talking a little bit of NASCAR, as this is a show that focuses on Alabama, but of course we are sponsored by NASCAR, and we love the start to the season we've seen with the thrilling Daytona 500 a week ago, and Rudy Fugle, who's the crew chief for William Byron and the number 24 car that won the Daytona 500. He'll be with us to talk about William Byron's win in Daytona. Looking through our headlines for today, let's start with that men's basketball team. A great victory last night against the Ole Miss Rebels. Final score was 103-88. Triple-double for Aaron Estrada, just the third ever in Crimson Tide history. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists for Aaron Estrada. Now coming up on Saturday, a battle for first place in the SEC with only a handful of games left, only 3 to go. Starting with that game against Tennessee coming up at 7 o'clock. The Vols had a good win last night against Auburn, so it's two teams tied in the standings. Tennessee does have the tiebreaker at the moment, but the Crimson Tide could get a huge victory coming up against Tennessee on Saturday to try and win what would be 3 of the last 4 SEC regular season championships. As I mentioned, College Game Day will be in town. 11 a.m. will be the start time for that. We are really looking forward to previewing that with Rece Davis in a few moments. Mark Sears continues to play at a high level, still in that conversation for the SEC Player of the Year, and we also know he is one of the finalists for the Oscar Robertson Award trophy. He's been named to the watch list for the best player in college basketball. Taking a look at women's basketball for the Crimson Tide. Last Sunday, a great bounce-back win after a tough loss last week at South Carolina. Crimson Tide looked solid in a win against Mississippi State, 87-75. Aaliyah Nye led the way with 28 points. She broke Alabama's single-season three-point record, and with now over 100 in the season that she has made from beyond the arc, had 8 in that ballgame that also broke an Alabama record. Great to see that for Aaliyah Nye. Essence Cody, a fine performance with 15.7 rebounds against Mississippi State. She was named the SEC Freshman of the Week for a third time this season, and now we're in the final 2 games for women's basketball in the regular season. Home tonight against Florida for senior night. 6 o'clock will be the start time. We'll have radio coverage plus a courtside cam presented by NASCAR starting at 5:55, and then on Sunday, the women's team will close out the regular season at Texas A&M. Looking to our sports on the diamond, both teams still winning. A great weekend for the Crimson Tide softball team, going 5-0 at the UAB Green and Gold Classic in Birmingham. Now this weekend, they're back at home for the T-Mobile Crimson Classic, which actually starts tonight. So not your typical Friday through Sunday tournament, but starting tonight. We'll talk more about that later on in the show. Then the baseball team, a perfect start to the season. Rob Vaughn and the Crimson Tide playing at a really high level. Picked up a midweek victory against UAB on Tuesday after sweeping Valparaiso over the weekend. Now this weekend, they'll be in Texas at the home of the Frisco Rough Riders, minor league baseball team in Frisco, Texas. Games coming up against Indiana, Arizona, and Dallas Baptist. 2 ranked games coming up for the 15th ranked Crimson Tide baseball team. Close out the headlines with a few other notes, mostly focusing on gymnastics. Last Friday picked up a great win against Georgia, and now this Friday they'll be at LSU, so we look forward to more consistent performances from the gymnastics team. Shania Adams, who stepped in for an injured Makari Doggett, she was named the SEC Specialist of the Week with some of the outstanding performances she'd had, especially on the bars. Track and field team, 8 received indoor track all-SEC honors, as we just saw swimming and diving and indoor track and field have their SEC championships this past week. Outdoor season coming up in a moment for track and field. But right now, the buzz in Tuscaloosa is all about basketball. It is all about what's coming up on Saturday when College Game Day will be here for the basketball edition of the show for the first time. Rece Davis, of course, is a proud Alabama alum. He loves coming back to Tuscaloosa, now especially for basketball College Game Day on Saturday. Here's our one-on-one conversation with Rece Davis, preview everything coming up this weekend in Tuscaloosa.
Rece, roll tide. We can't wait to have you back in Tuscaloosa. How would you describe your excitement for getting back to town on Saturday?
Roger, I think it's a really big moment for the Alabama basketball program. As you know, we've been there for football numerous times. I think maybe only Ohio State more often in football, but our first trip there for basketball. And I think with the program being more prominent on a national level over the last few years, it's a great opportunity for the fans to showcase the support and the passion that they have. And, it's a little bit of a different type of show for us. It's an hour-long show on ABC, which will afford a pretty sizable audience. And I hope that led by our friends at Crimson Chaos. I understand that they're already working hard and there are billboards up around town, I'm told. I really hope that there will be a great showing to let the nation know that Crimson Tide fans support more than just football.
Really should be a lot of fun coming up on Saturday morning here in Tuscaloosa. And just for you, following this Alabama basketball team, not just throughout this season, but throughout the Nate Oates era, what has impressed you the most about what he's been able to do with the Crimson Tide?
Well, I think the biggest thing is right now they're attempting to win, as you well know, their third SEC championship in the last 4 years. Now, who knows whether they will or not, but whether they do really is secondary in my judgment to the fact that Nate's done it with three entirely different teams. It's not as if he, built with one group of guys, kept them around for a couple of years, and they put up a couple of banners. I mean, they had, that first group, led by Herb Jones, and then they had last year's uber talented group with sensational freshman Brandon Miller and Clowney. And now there are some holdovers. Mark Sears, Rylan, Griffen were really big parts of the team last year. Nick Pringle certainly had his moments, but largely this is a different team. So he's done it with a different cast of characters. They've all played differently in some ways. Obviously this team is not as good defensively as the other two, but he's found ways to play to their suits, and that's the mark of a great coach. And I think he is one of the rising stars, if he's not already a major shining star in the coaching landscape. He's a really, really sharp dude.
And of course, we've talked before about your attending the University of Alabama following the Crimson Tide from an early age. How about your connection with this basketball program from before you went to campus? And then what was your connection like with the basketball program during your years here in Tuscaloosa?
Well, I went to virtually every home game. It's been fairly well documented that I attempted to become the guy at the end of the bench who got into blowouts, and I wasn't even good enough to do that. The best of the many wonderful things that Wimp Sanderson did in his coaching career, probably the best thing he ever did was send me a letter to say, we need you to buy tickets if you're going to be anywhere near this basketball program. But I went to, I don't remember the exact year, Roger, but I went to my first game in then Memorial Coliseum, now Coleman Coliseum, in the T.R. Dunn, Anthony Murray era when C.M. Newton was the head coach in the 70s. It was after my buddy Leon Douglas had finished playing. I remember Leon wasn't on the team anymore, but Reggie King, T.R., Anthony, Kent Looney, Keith McCord, who later transferred to UAB. Those were some great teams that I enjoyed, going to watch play growing up. And then later on, in my high school days, Watley and Bobby Lee Hurt. In fact, Bobby Lee was still in school when I was, for early in my time at Alabama. So, some great players that I've seen, and obviously that team in '87 with Derek McKee and Godfrey Farmer, and Terry Connor, and Michael Ansley was a freshman that year, I think. So, there have been some great players there, and it probably would have a little bit more recognition on the national stage if they could get past that Sweet 16 hex that seems to be hovering over the program. They got past it once, oddly enough, by probably no disrespect intended, but probably by the least likely of many of their good tournament teams to get past that hump. It was that 2014, which was really good, but I don't and I hope nobody gets offended. They've had better teams than that, that haven't had that type of good fortune in the tournament. So I've watched it for a long time and followed it closely, and I'm really happy for the success that they're having now.
Now it culminates coming up on Saturday with Alabama and Tennessee battling for an SEC championship. Again, College Game Day will be there on Saturday morning. And as you mentioned, it's the first time that the basketball edition of this show has been to Tuscaloosa. Our fans have loved coming to the football edition of the show for years. So with this basketball program that's coming up on Saturday morning, what should our fans expect, especially the ones that are going to make their way inside Coleman Coliseum?
I think a really intimate experience with us. We really try to be engaged with the fans. There's a chance to win money, which now that McAfee's with us in football, you can win money too. If you can kick a field goal, you got to hit a half-court shot to win State Farm's money here. But, I think that what you'll get is you'll have a group of guys who are really passionate about the sport, who really know it inside out and are excited to be there and share in the traditions and atmospheres of different places. We've been to some wonderful places. There's no place in college basketball I enjoy going more than going to Kansas. We've been there a ton, been to Duke a lot, been to Carolina a lot. It's awesome every single time that we go there. But it's also fun to go to places, to programs who aspire to be on that stage, to be viewed, on the same level, maybe not from an historical, traditional standpoint, but at least from a modern day standpoint with the Kansas and the Kentuckys and the Dukes and Carolinas. And, so I think that we enjoy seeing that. We enjoy seeing it because I think it signifies the sport growing into areas that, not that it had, look, Alabama's been good for a long time, but in terms of growing, I mean, like on the national stage, being a perennial contender, being a tournament team, and someone that people wouldn't be surprised, if they make the Final Four runs from time to time.
One of your last assignments here in Tuscaloosa was back in January when Coach Saban announced his retirement. You came in and interviewed him for one of the first on-air interviews, the first on-air interview that he recorded.
Yeah, I was going to correct you there. It was the first one.
The first. Yeah. I mean, we tried. I emailed Josh Maxson a million times, but you got it. But no, you had a great conversation with him as he detailed his reasons for stepping away from Alabama and retiring from coaching college football. What was that experience like from you? What did you enjoy about getting to visit with him in that setting?
I always enjoy talking to him because I think he's probably one of the two or three, if not, he's probably at the top of the list, most fascinating coaches in my professional time. Not just when he's been at Alabama, though certainly most notably there, but he's been a fascinating figure for a really long time, and to watch the way he has evolved and changed his public perception. I don't think he's changed a lot personally. He's just allowed people to see what he's about a little bit more as the years have gone on, and the impact that he's had on people. I think you always enjoy being around him, but being able to talk to him there and let him detail his thought process and how he approached it, and sort of the responsibility he felt to leave the program in a good spot. And also he's not big on anxiety, as but you sensed a little bit of anxiety that he felt in the moments leading up to actually making the decision final. Now, after that, I felt that he was convinced and resolved that he had done the thing that was best for him. I didn't get the sense, that there was what have I done, and talking to him. But as he detailed to me in those moments leading up when he was deciding, am I going to give the speech that the players expect about the off-season program and what the schedule is going to be and what we expect and how we're going to take the next step? Or am I going to give the other speech that I've prepared? And I don't know, Roger, that it was one of those things, I should do this, I should do that. I got the sense, and sort of the way I felt like what he was saying was he had made the decision, but when you've poured as much into something as he has poured into his coaching career and Alabama, the finality of it means you better be sure before you make that, that final decision. So he was looking at it and prepared in case in the moment that he walked in, looked at the players and thought, this is where I need to be for a while longer. And he, that was the sense I got from it. It wasn't like a wavering thing. Nick is not a wavering kind of guy. He thinks things through thoroughly and then makes a decision and proceeds. But I think that was probably the thing above and beyond everything else that stuck with me, is that the preparation was such that he was even prepared for a possibility that he stepped into that room and thought, I can't do this. So he was even prepared for that, so it's quite a testimony to him, I think. And it's something that we're looking forward to having him on the show, because he's such a gifted communicator, and he also has a great rapport with all of us, and we're really excited about having him on College Game Day. He's going to bring a great dimension to the show this fall, I think.
We certainly look forward to that. Well, Rece Davis, thank you so much for your time with us here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Safe travels to Tuscaloosa later in the week, and have a blast coming up at Coleman Coliseum on Saturday. Thank you. Roll Tide.
Need to see a huge crowd out there on the network. It's going to be great for the program if they show up and support. We hope they will.
There is nothing like Sweet Home Talladega. Don't miss out on the opportunity to witness the thrill of four-wide racing on one of NASCAR's most iconic tracks. From the blistering speed on the track to the unparalleled fan access at the Talladega Garage Experience, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Don't miss out on NASCAR's much-anticipated return to Talladega Superspeedway for the Geico 500 on April 21st. Purchase your tickets today at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. Really appreciate the time of Rece Davis. He and the Game Day crew are going to have a lot of fun coming up on Saturday morning. We hope Saturday night against Tennessee, Rylan Griffen has a lot of fun for the Alabama Crimson Tide as he is continuing what's been a really great sophomore year for Griffen, who was a solid contributor a year ago for the Crimson Tide, but with all the changes from one season to the next, he is one of the veteran players on this roster. He talks about what that's like, also what's like dealing with some of the new assistant coaches on this staff in this one-on-one conversation. I think you'll appreciate the insights of Alabama men's basketball's Rylan Griffen.
Rylan, Roll Tide, how is everything going for you and the Crimson Tide this basketball season?
Everything good. We clicking right now, so just trying to keep that up.
It really has been fun to watch how this team has grown throughout the season. And of course, you were around the group last year that won the SEC championship. Let's just take a look back to going into the season, though. How'd you guys start to mesh together? Because you were one of the few returners on this roster. How did the returners help the newcomers kind of learn the Alabama culture and what Nate Oates likes to have in a Crimson Tide basketball team?
It took a while. We weren't fully healthy until pretty much the first game of the season. So it took a while just to make sure everybody meshed in and just found out the culture. You got people coming in from different schools with different cultures. You got freshmen coming in from high school. So we already know how that goes. It's not the same. So just making sure everybody's on board and everybody's bought in, and it's helped us to get where we're at today.
Did the off-season retreat really help doing that military style training?
Yeah, it really helped us with the bonding. More than anything, just we faced adversity all week that week, and just knowing we had each other back. So in the game, when we hit adversity, we got each other back. So yeah, it was good. I think it helped.
It really has paid off all throughout the season. And for this group as well, had a couple of tough losses early in the year in November and December. You had to play a really challenging schedule. How did that get you guys ready for SEC play?
Oh, it definitely helped us. It just let us know we can compete with the best teams. But we didn't play those games to just be able to compete. We played them to win. So it kind of hurt losing those games early on. But I think I'd be lying to you if I told you it didn't help us be where we're at right now. So just getting the losses out the way kind of early, making sure, we got to find out how this group was going to mesh, what we needed to do to win games. We had a new coaching staff too. So I think it just took a little bit longer than people would have liked for it to connect and click, but I think we're getting there now.
I imagine so. And how much have you enjoyed getting to know some of the new members of this coaching staff, like Austin Clonch, Ryan Pannone, and Preston Murphy?
Oh, it's good. It's good. Coach Clonch, he's from Texas, so we already had that connection. So he's real cool. Talk to him all the time. Coach Murphy, he's real funny. Me and him, we laugh every practice, every day we see each other. Sometimes we got a good relationship. So sometimes we just look at each other and we already know each other thinking and start laughing. So yeah, I really love Coach Murphy. I'm very appreciative of him. And then Coach Pannone, he's a basketball head, junkie. He's smart. He knows basketball. So if I ever need any advice on what I need to do to get better, to improve my game, I go to all three coaches, but if I'm looking at like some stuff that like kind of like next level stuff, he's gonna help me get better at those things just to improve my game to help us win games.
And then how about with Coach Oates as well? What are some things you and he talk about one-on-one? How has he helped your game?
We talk. We talk pretty often about just like the season. He's on my game a lot. He's on me understand basketball more. Um, like he's on me get smarter with the game of basketball. So he real smart coach, great X's and O's coach. And I always tell people like he gets talented players and makes them play hard. So that's like you can't really beat that really in coaching. So and he told me he was gonna coach me harder because he thinks we both agreed that I respond better to hard coaching. So I just take the hard coaching in. I like when he coaches me hard and may yell at me or something for something that he knows I'm better than. So I just like that type stuff. Some he thinks I can do better. I deserve to get yelled at. So I just take that in, and I know it's not personal. So I know Coach Oates has my back at the end of the day. So very very fun playing for him, and I've been very very blessed to be able to play for him and then play for a coach of that stature.
How much fun is it to play in this offensive system? It seems like you guys have a lot of freedom. Do you really feel that on the floor?
Yeah, I do. I tell people all the time, like I don't get yelled at for shooting the ball. Like it doesn't matter if it's a bad shot, good shot. Coach Oates, he really does a great job of not taking my confidence away from me. And at college, like that's huge because I see people all the time that are a little bit better than what they're showing, like in college, but they just haven't had the confidence. I don't know if the coach hasn't instilled that in them or what, but that's not the issue with me. So, if I'm lacking confidence, it's not because of Coach Oates. It's because I'm not putting the work in and I don't feel confident enough in my game to do anything. But Coach Oates is never because of him. So Coach Oates, you can't not have fun playing for him. Like you shoot a bunch of threes, get to the rim, and he lets you make plays with the ball. He really doesn't. You see when bigs bring the ball up, he really doesn't care. Bigs getting pick and rolls, doesn't care. He just wants everybody to have that freedom to make plays.
And we've seen Alabama be one of the best offenses in all of college basketball this year. But I know he and the coaching staff spent a lot of time talking to you guys about one word, defense. And that's something we've heard over and over from him all throughout this year. Just how have you guys taken steps forward on the defensive end? Is that really the backbone of this program, Alabama's intensity on defense?
He last year he was the offensive coach, so he talked defensive court like he looks over everything, but like he mainly like set up the offense. But this year he's running the defense, so um, we gotta play harder because he running the defense. So if you messing up, like you probably getting yelled at by him because he running it. Like it's his stuff. So that it makes it like a challenge on defense, and he challenges us really really hard. We haven't responded to the challenge all the time. So, but I think now we're gonna get starting to respond to it a lot more consistent on a consistent basis. And Coach Oates, he coaches offense very well, but he also is a really, really smart defensive coach too. So and defense is a five-man effort. So I think Coach Oates is just as good of a defensive coach as offense, but we haven't executed his game plan to the standard that we should have. So it may look pretty bad, but he's an excellent defensive coach as well. We gotta lock in for him and show everybody that he's a great defensive coach because he is. But it's on us on why our defense has been bad, not him. So we're looking to fix that.
We know you guys are really competitive. You want to win the ball game, of course, but you also want to win what's on your T-shirt, the hard hat, getting all those blue collar points. Just what kind of point of pride is that when you're able to get the hard hat and really be celebrated by your teammates by wearing the hard hat?
It's a lot. It's a lot of fun. Like it just as soon as we get in the locker room, that's probably the first thing we think about. Coach Oates, he gives it off to the winner at the end of the when he gets through talking. So and he's always happiest the most with blue collar. Like he thinks we're a great offensive team. So he says if we get our blue collar points up very, very high, it means we played hard defensively and we caused a lot of misses and it caused a lot of turnovers. So he thinks if we do like we consistently get in the like 115s or we consistently get in the 120s of blue collar points, we probably won't lose too many games. So we're trying to get that consistent. I know last game against Kentucky, we took a big dip with blue collar points, but the good thing about SEC basketball is you got another chance to show. I mean, we're running out of chances, but at least it's not over yet. So we gotta just respond.
Certainly do. Well, games this week against Ole Miss, and then coming up on Saturday, a lot of excitement to be home against the Tennessee Volunteers. We anticipate a huge crowd. College Game Day is going to be in town. Just when Coleman Coliseum is rocking, what do you players feel on the floor of the energy from not only all Alabama fans, but especially that student section, Crimson Chaos?
It just feels good. I wish this I know the student section it don't really look like they're making an impact on the game on TV because they're far away. Whereas like you see Auburn and all these other schools, the crowd is like right on the court almost. So like it looks like a little bit better. So when people say like Alabama doesn't have a good crowd, like they see what they see on TV, and what they see on TV is like the crowd kind of push back a little bit just so like they don't really see the whole like it's really packed up there, so nobody really sees that. So, we appreciate all Crimson Chaos and all the fans that show up. Even like if they don't think they make an impact on the game, they are. So, very excited to get back and play in front of them this weekend, and College Game Day coming. So I know they're going to be pretty riled up for that. So, ready to play in front of them.
And then what's life been like for you in Tuscaloosa, kind of away from the court? What are you plugged into academically or anything you're involved with in the community?
Yeah, I go to school. Just go to school and then work out, play the game, play Xbox, hang out with my friends. Um, yeah, that's just about. I don't really do too much. Just really chill, watch film, watch a lot of film on the team that we play. So that's about it. Just a regular college student. Nothing too special.
And then, of course, you're originally from Dallas, Texas. How much has your family been able to travel and watch you play, especially at different spots around the SEC, or make it here to Tuscaloosa?
We haven't really played near Dallas this year. We played at LSU. I think that was the closest drive. So they've been able to come out to a few, not all games. My dad, he comes to the ones that are big games. Like he'll probably come on Saturday for Tennessee. I haven't talked to him yet, but he probably will come for that game too. But he doesn't come to every game. They don't come to every game. They just come to the games where it's like a once in a lifetime experience where you're not going to experience that again. So those are the only type of games they come to, unless it's real close to Dallas or tournament, something like that. So they've been to a few. They've probably been like six games this year.
I got you. Well, we hope we're there to watch you coming up on Saturday and down the stretch, because there's a lot of exciting basketball coming up. Regular season coming to a close. Alabama competing for a championship, then the SEC tournament, then the NCAA tournament. I'll let you go on this, Rylan. Just what is this Alabama basketball team capable of this season?
I think we're capable of winning the whole thing. Like everybody sees, we're the best offensive team in the country, and I really don't like debating it. I know like some people have a bunch of numbers, but I think we're the best. Like the whole like you can't focus on one person, and one person doesn't make your offense like some of these other offenses that are up there with us. So I like that. Like we're diverse. Like we throw a bunch of different lineups. It's kind of hard to like guard us. So everybody knows how good we are offensively. So I think as long as we lock in on defense and be a elite defensive team as well, that like we're capable of, like we've shown a couple of times this season, then the points will be like you got the number one offense and the top defense. We should win every game. So I think this team is capable of winning the national championship, but we gotta put in a lot of work to do that. We're not there yet, but I think we'll get there by the time that time comes.
We'll look forward to seeing. Well, Rylan Griffen, you're a huge part of Alabama's success this year. Just thank you for joining us here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Best of luck the rest of the way. Roll Tide.
Thank you for having me.
Iron made this place. But in order to take it all home, you need nerves of steel. The big one is back. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Speaking of great sophomores for the Alabama Crimson Tide, we check in with Gabby Gladiuex of the Alabama Gymnastics team, as she has competed all around in 4 events for the Crimson Tide this season. Another one of the talented returners for Ashley Johnston and the Alabama Gymnastics team. She joins us next here on Crimson Drive to talk about what's it been like for her to compete as a second-year student athlete here at the University of Alabama, and everything coming up for the Alabama Gymnastics team. Gabby, what's it been like to compete this year as a sophomore?
It's been great. Having a year of experience under your belt definitely helps you. And it's also nice to be able to kind of give the freshmen some advice too, because you understand you were just there. But I think this year has been, for me at least, a lot about just kind of letting go and competing and having that joy, that I did when I was a kid. I'm not putting too much expectations on the outcome or, the things I can't control, just really living in the moment and having fun with it.
And you guys have been having a lot of fun. Again, a tremendous season for Alabama to start the year. Is there a lot of comfort as well with this coaching staff being their second year in place here in Tuscaloosa?
Oh, absolutely. I think last year, there was a bit of uncertainty just because everything was new. Especially for me as a freshman. It was my first year at college and new coaching staff and everything. But I think we built a lot of trust between, the off season and now going into regular season with these coaches and just their communication, the way they care about us, as people and not just as gymnasts. I think that really has an impact on this team and why we're so close. It's, these coaches are the best of the best, and I couldn't be more grateful for them.
What are some of the fun things you guys did in preseason preparation to kind of build that team chemistry? And even how do you keep it going during the season, making sure everyone's having a good time?
Right. So I think it was August or September, we took a little team retreat. We went to Flip Fest, which is a big gymnastics camp in Tennessee. And we did a high ropes course. We did tubing. We were being thrown all over this lake. We had talks around the fire. We did a lot of team building, kind of like facing our fear. A lot of people are afraid of heights. And so we would go up there with each other and kind of just build that bond of knowing that we have each other's backs and we're all kind of scared. But we're just going to jump and do it anyway. And that was really fun. We stayed in cabins and it was a lot of no phones were allowed, which was nice. We got to disconnect and kind of just focus on each other. But I think throughout the season, we bond a lot. We never get tired of each other, which is really cool. We're with each other 6 out of 7 days of the week. And it's nice to know that you have a family to see each and every day that has your back. And also we bond a lot through spike ball, kind of our pre-practice tradition. It's a way kind of to just let loose and kind of have some laughter, some fun, a little bit of trash talking and get loose before practice or competition. But yeah.
Who remains the best spike ball player on this roster?
I'm a humble person, I will say, but I definitely think it's between me and Lily Hudson. I think we take it very seriously. It's not just a game to us. But yeah.
That certainly is a lot of fun. And for you, I imagine the quad meet that Alabama had at TMU this past Monday had to be a great performance as well. You win the all-around. Just what led to success on that Monday night?
Yeah, Monday was great. We went in, we had a rough couple weeks with Auburn and Kentucky, and I think this was really a pivotal moment in season where we just kind of needed to let loose and go big. We just needed to get back to Alabama gymnastics and just do us. And I think we did that. We did a great job throughout the week preparing for that. And these coaches helped us too. A lot of the mental and physical training that went into this week really prepared us. But we were right back where we needed to be. And I'm excited for the rest of the season.
How much have you enjoyed competing in the all-around this season and getting to work on all different apparatus?
It's been nice. I worked really hard this year. Big thanks to Gina, our bar coach, for getting me. I used to not enjoy bars at all, but she got me to kind of enjoy it a little bit. And, competing for events is really, it's different in a way than last year because I feel like I'm just contributing all I can for this team. And it's been a privilege. We have such depth in this team, such potential. And to be able to be a part of that 6 up, 6 down lineup is really something that I take pride in. But I'm just proud of everybody on this team because they push me to be better. They push all of us to be better. And I think that's what's going to carry this team to be great in the end.
How about some of the veteran leadership on this team? Because you have a lot of fifth-year seniors that decided to come back for one more ride with Alabama Gymnastics. How have you leaned on them all throughout the year?
Oh, my God. They were here to help me through my freshman year. And so to have them come back, like Makari and I met at 2019 NASCAR. So we've known each other for about 5 years. And, to think that we started out as complete strangers and now she's like my hero. She always has my back. She's always supporting me. I don't think over the 2 years that I've been with her, I haven't laughed. I haven't gone a day without laughing. She's just such a light and she brings so much joy into any room she walks into. And I couldn't be more blessed to call her a big sister.
That's really good to see. How about Louisa, especially as you compete with her in some of the all-around events?
Oh my God, Louisa. She is she's an amazing gymnast, but she's got the most pure heart of anybody I've ever met. I remember a couple weeks ago, we sat down and we were just talking at coffee for 2 hours just about life and about season. And I was asking her advice because she's been there, she knows what it's like. And just to learn from someone at her caliber, and to be able to take lessons from not just her gymnastics, but just the kind of person she is, that really speaks very highly of just who she is. I mean, she's Luisa Blanco. She's a great gymnast, but she's such an amazing person.
Well, we always enjoy home meets here at Coleman Coliseum, and especially when it's Power of Pink. As we tape this, it's a few days before the Power of Pink. We know that meant a lot to you last year to have your mom out there with you. Just what does this mean to you and your family?
I love Pink Meet. It's my favorite meet of the year for a few reasons. I get to walk out with my mom, of course, who's a breast cancer survivor. And that just, for me, that means so much because this meet is more than gymnastics. I mean, it's great to compete in Coleman on a Friday night, but we're competing for such a bigger cause. And that makes my heart so happy. So I think Friday, all of us are just going to go out and compete for the survivors, the people that are continuing to fight, and unfortunately, the people who have lost the fight. But Pink Meet should be exciting.
It really should be, and we saw that as well to be the change meet. How meaningful was that to see all your different teammates come together for different causes that are really close to their heart and get to celebrate that against Kentucky?
Like I said, it's a privilege being able to use our platform because I think as student athletes, we receive so many opportunities. And so it's really fulfilling to be able to give back to the community and be, a role model to the younger generation and to use our voice and our platform to speak for those who may not have as big of a voice. But I think for me, might be the change. I volunteer at a school with these kids, and just, to see them get so excited when we tell them we're a part of Alabama Gymnastics, and the smile and their eyes just light up and they have so many questions. And I know a few of them were able to actually come to the meet, which was actually pretty cool to see. To know that you're making an impact in your community is pretty cool.
That's really good to see. And for you, you wanted to be an Alabama gymnast at a very early age. Just these first 2 years, has it lived up to everything you hoped it would be competing for the Crimson Tide?
It's more than I ever could have dreamed of. This team, these coaches, I mean, this family is what we call it. And it's truly been the best 2 years of my life. I mean, I don't think I've enjoyed competing as much as I have in these past 2 years. I like to say that I've found the love of the sport again, which is something that I hope every gymnast out there is able to do, because it's truly competing with your best friends. There's nothing like it.
Well, we're getting into the second half of the season. Just how important are these meets coming up? Home against Georgia and then against LSU coming up next Friday.
These are really important, I think, for us to build our momentum. Coming off of a high like we did yesterday, it's really good. We just got to keep pushing because we're getting into the back half of the season, and it's tiring and it's a lot. But this is what's going to make us great. This is what's going to get us to night 2 of nationals. And I think for us, it's just about putting in the numbers, trusting our training, trusting each other, and just embracing every moment and rising to the challenge.
We look forward to it. Well, Gabby, Gladiuex, thank you so much for joining us this week on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. All the best to you and the Crimson Tide moving forward. Roll Tide.
Thank you so much. Roll Tide.
NASCAR is returning to one of its most iconic tracks. Be there and experience the energy, the excitement, and the power as drivers battle it out at Talladega Superspeedway for the Geico 500 on April 21st. Lock in your tickets today at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. Crimson Drive is, of course, driven by NASCAR, and we're thrilled that the NASCAR season is underway with really 2 thrilling races. The win for William Byron at the Daytona 500, then the narrow victory we just saw, and we're really close finish at Atlanta over the weekend. A lot of fun to talk about NASCAR, and speaking of talking about NASCAR, we're privileged to be joined now by Rudy Fugle, who is the crew chief for William Byron and the number 24 Chevrolet that took home the checkered flag at Daytona International Speedway back on February 18th. As a great win for William Byron and for Rudy Fugle, who joins us now to talk about what this win means for Hendrick Motorsports and William Byron.
Rudy, was it worth the wait going from Daytona on Sunday to Saturday? You had to wait out all the rain in Daytona this weekend, but what a thrilling Monday for you and your crew. Congratulations.
Yeah, I've been waiting for a long time to win it in anything at Daytona, but especially at 500. So an extra day is nothing. So, it's just an amazing night. It was amazing crowd, even on a Monday. Everybody stood around. It felt like it was still Sunday. So that was it was great. Kudos to all the fans for helping, stay there and keep the excitement as high as it was.
Well, it's certainly exciting to start the 2024 season with this victory, but going back to last year, a tremendous year for you and William in that car. What led to some of the consistency we saw as you ended up finishing third in point standings?
Yeah, I think it's just growing as a team. This is the start of my fourth year, Hendrick and William. Really, a sixth year was last year in the series. So, and you just turned 26 over the off season, so still really really young. The team is growing; it's really young, and just can't be prouder. But last year was great for us. We won a lot of races. We won consistently. We made the Final Four. A lot of things that we've been pushing to do that have been on our goals. And now this year we want to win those races, but we want to win the big races, the crown jewels, and prove that we can be a championship team again, and perennial contenders. So this is a great start for that.
And you mentioned last year again, finished in the top four. What was the focus in the NASCAR offseason for you guys? Getting the car ready to go, getting William ready to go for this Daytona 500?
Yeah, it was number one. You're getting a break for everybody. It's a long, grueling season. So first of all, getting everybody a little bit of a break. But our main goals were, just trying to really figure out how to, be more efficient through the year. The way the Cup Series works, there's a lot of ups and downs. The manufacturers, it seemed like, get better and worse, and we're just trying to take some of the highs and keep them high, but get rid of some of the lows, and make them those 20th place finishes 15th or better than that, and try to be more consistent that way, I guess, would be the main goal. And then obviously winning races, doing the same things we have been, and but the consistency we keep trying to improve year in and year out. So it's a tough thing to do, but we can. That's our biggest task.
That certainly can be tough as well with some of the huge crashes we see at Daytona, both early in the race and with about 5 or 6 laps to go. Just kind of walk us through your emotions seeing William in both of those spots.
Yeah, it was great to be up front, coming those last 10 laps. It was super intense. And you hate to kind of get the push that creates a wreck and takes out a lot of cars, but it happens at all these events. A lot of times we've been on the other side of it. So we're fortunate that we got through and still had a chance. At that point, we were just trying to refocus. How do you get ready for a restart on the front row? Last year, we had a restart on a green-white checker from third, and it didn't work out. We got in the wreck later. And last year, I felt like we had a really good car, good enough to win. And so we learned from that. I think we learned what we wanted to do. And that kind of propelled, that refocus, even though that we knew we were part of the wreck, refocusing on what we needed to do, how we needed to execute the restart, how we needed to take the push, put us in a spot to win. With William in our spotter, Brandon, they both did a great job refocusing.
Yeah, what's the communication like with you, Brandon, and William all throughout a race? How much of a rhythm do you guys have at this point in your career?
Yeah, it's really good. This is Brandon's third year. He wasn't there for the first year, but we've both known Brandon for a really long time. He spotted for William and K&N. And I've known him from the late model side. So we have a great relationship. The three of us are really, really good in that. We just good friends, and we kind of know what we're thinking. So, and we know the goals and how we want to act. So that part's great.
So when the race is over, take us through the celebration. Did it live up to what you were hoping for to win the Daytona 500? How you guys got to celebrate and what this means for William?
Yeah, it really is the shock, and just the jubilation of winning a race that big. I've never felt that kind of emotion. Never been that excited, but it was calm. It was just this great feeling. So, and then we got to run onto the front stretch and, see Mr. Hendrick. He was excited as I've ever seen him, so, and Mrs. Hendrick in Victory Lane, she was so excited. 40th year to anniversary for them, to the day of their first race as Cup owners. So amazing. And then we had a lot of fun. We were spraying champagne and doing lots of things, and just a great team camaraderie. Way to start the year and go forward.
A lot of fans of the 24 from Jeff Gordon's era love seeing the 24 back in Victory Lane at Daytona. Just what has Jeff Gordon meant to you and this crew and everything you all do for Hendrick Motorsports?
Yeah, it's great leadership. It's amazing since he's kind of gone to this vice chair a couple years ago. How much he cares for us, how much time he spends with us. He doesn't have to do that. He's a 4-time champion and won all those races. He could be spending time with his family, but he enjoys it. He pushes for us, and we couldn't do it without him. So I appreciate him a ton.
So this week's, I'm sure, a whirlwind. There's been a media tour for William Byron. You guys are getting the car ready to go for what's coming up this week in Atlanta. But just what's moving forward for this number 24 team as you continue competing and hopefully down the road winning a championship?
Yeah, just trying to refocus. It's hard. We are not running on very much sleep. I mean, so didn't sleep at all Monday night. Worked and celebrated more on Tuesday, but we were at the shop making sure everybody there knew that we had won and that they were part of the success, and we thanked them. And then yesterday was work, trying to get Atlanta loaded up. So, now that we've done that, we're getting ready for that, getting ready for Las Vegas. Las Vegas and Phoenix are two huge races after Atlanta, but Atlanta first. Atlanta's been great for us. We've won twice there since the repave, so can't wait to get down there and see what we can do.
Well, the 24 team has a lot of fans here in Alabama. Can't wait to have you guys back in the state in a few weeks coming up as well for Talladega. Just Rudy, congratulations. A thrill of a lifetime winning the Daytona 500. Just thank you for your time with us on Crimson Drive. Roll Tide.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Visit Tuscaloosa as your go-to resource for all things Tuscaloosa. Check out their events calendar at visittuscaloosa.com. Don't forget about the half marathon coming up in March. Again, visit tuscaloosa.com, your place to check out everything happening in this great city we call home, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Appreciate the time of Rudy Fugle. We'll be doing a few more NASCAR interviews coming up all throughout the season here on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Right now, it's time to take a look at what's coming up this weekend. It's a busy time here on campus and elsewhere for Alabama, but let's take a look at our upcoming broadcast on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Our weekend update is brought to you by Wickles Pickles. They're wickedly delicious. Have the relish with us on set here today in Tuscaloosa. Find out more great products, how you can enhance your tailgate with Wickles Pickles at wicklespickles.com. Let's see what's coming up across the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Well, later tonight, we're going to be busy over at Coleman Coliseum for what will be the last time for Alabama women's basketball this year, as the Crimson Tide women's basketball team will host senior night, as the Crimson Tide will be hosting the Florida Gators coming up. So we look forward to that coming up later on this evening. Then the softball at the same time will start play in the Crimson Classic against Northern Iowa. Tomorrow, don't forget episodes of the Nate Oach television show and Tide TV This Week will be available on demand, rolltide.com and the Alabama Athletics social media platforms. And then softball will have two games, one against South Alabama at 4, 6:30 against Arizona. The baseball team will be starting play as well at the Frisco Classic against the Indiana Hoosiers. Then on Saturday, a very busy day. Don't forget College Game Day that morning at Coleman Coliseum, and then the softball team will play two more games. South Alabama and Arizona will be the opponents at Rhodes Stadium. The baseball team also taking on Arizona, but out in Frisco. And then the men's basketball team, 7 o'clock against Tennessee, really the regular season SEC championship on the line in that matchup between the Crimson Tide and the Volunteers. Our radio coverage will start at 6. Don't forget about as well the courtside cam presented by NASCAR, streaming live on all of these CTSN social media platforms during the game. Then on Sunday, play will wrap up in the regular season for the women's basketball team at 2 o'clock at Texas A&M. Baseball team also in Texas will be taking on a ranked Dallas Baptist opponent to round out the Frisco Classic. And then we'll be back at Baumhauer's Victory Grill on Monday night at 6 p.m. for a new edition of Hey Coach, previewing a busy week ahead for Alabama athletics. That's our upcoming schedule presented by Wickles Pickles. And that's going to wrap up this very busy edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Huge thank you to our guest, Rudy Fugle from NASCAR, Alabama Gymnastics, Gabby Gladiuex, Rylan Griffen from the men's basketball team, and of course, Rece Davis, the host of ESPN's College Game Day. We can't wait to have their entire crew here in Tuscaloosa to preview Saturday night's matchup between Alabama and Tennessee. Thanks as well to Ethan Carabin, our video producer. He put this entire show together. Thanks to all of you for watching. For everybody with the Crimson Tide Sports Network, I'm Roger Hoover saying thanks again for watching. Roll Tide. Have a fantastic weekend coming up as we celebrate Alabama athletics this weekend. Roll Tide, everyone.